Hello hearties, it's Catherine, and today I want to talk to you about a common phenomenon known as being funny about money. So when I am running the Get More Clients Saying Yes course for enrolling and attracting clients in an authentic and comfortable way, I always start with the topic of relationship with sales and relationship with money. Because the truth is that if you believe that there is something that's just inherently dirty or self-serving about the whole idea of sales, or if you have a belief that it's wrong to charge money for your services, or that earning money is bad, or that people who have money are greedy, or any other sort of negative connotations that you're holding with regards to money or sales, then it doesn't really matter what I teach you in terms of structure, in terms of process, because all of this stuff around money is going to hold you back. And so when we look at this within that module, there's always a lot of aha moments and people really relate to what I'm sharing. So I thought I would do a video on that today to have a look at this with you and to help you to explore how is your relationship with money getting in the way of your business success. Is your relationship with money and with sales healthy? And it means that you're comfortable about your pricing, you're very comfortable communicating your value and enrolling clients, or perhaps your relationship with money might be getting in the way. So here are some sort of common things that I tend to see that can become a bit of a block to attracting and enrolling clients. So first of all, does talking about money make you feel uncomfortable, awkward, maybe embarrassed or ashamed? Do you actually have blocks around charging what you know you should? So perhaps you keep your pricing a lot lower than you know your worth is really worth because it feels more comfortable to you. Do you give away free sessions, or do you frequently let sessions go over time so that you're actually giving an awful lot more than your clients are paying you for? Do you sometimes find yourself slipping into explaining or justifying your fees and why they are what they are, or even offering a discount before the client has even commented? Do you feel guilty charging money for what you offer? If any of those sound like you, even if it's just one of them, then I can give you an official diagnosis that you are funny about money. And being funny about money typically stems from one of what I see to be one of two main areas. You've got professional funny about money, so you're being funny about money in a purely professional capacity, or you've got personal funny about money, which is where you're being funny about money in a way that is much more much more embedded through your personal life and your history. Now, of course, they often go hand in hand, but being able to separate these out is actually really very, very useful. So I'm going to talk first about being the professional funny about money. So in this one, this is where you might find that you doubt the value of your work. You're not really sure if it's valuable. You're not completely confident that you can make the difference you say you can, or that you can really fulfill on the promises that you're making your clients. And this can naturally cause you to lose confidence, particularly during your sales process, because of course if you don't fully believe in what you're selling, it's very hard for you to sell with integrity, which of course is what we all want. It also makes it really difficult for you to talk about and communicate very clear pricing, because if you're not really solid about the value that you can bring, then of course it's very hard for you to become congruent about offering your work out at pricing that is fair and appropriate to your level of skills and experience, and that reflects the difference you can make. You also might have what I call professional funny about money-itis if you are not confident in the way you communicate what you do and in the way that you communicate the value that this can bring to your potential clients. So this can lead to an awkwardness in the sales conversation itself, but it also leads to an extra area of awkwardness around the whole money subject. Because of course, if you know that you're not managing to fully communicate the value of your work to the client, and you can just see or sense that the client just doesn't really get it, like they're just not getting it because of the way you're communicating it, then of course when it comes time for you to state your fees, it can feel really incongruent, because you can almost see in their eyes, or you can hear in their voice, that they feel it's expensive, but actually it's not expensive at all. You just haven't managed to communicate that difference that you make, which is so important throughout the sales process. So if you recognize yourself in any of that, then you can celebrate, yay, because it's actually really good news. You see, this type of funny about money that is linked to your professional persona, about connecting in with your value, about learning how to communicate what you do, this can all be resolved really relatively easily. And there's a number of really very practical things that you can do to help you to improve your relationship with money in a professional sense. And many of these I teach and cover within the Get More Clients Saying Yes program itself. But for example, if you know that you are not in touch with your value, which causes you to feel awkward in the money conversations, collecting testimonials and keeping a success notebook can really help to increase that sense of value. You know, at a certain place in your business, there's even an argument for working for free with people in order to show you that you really can help people get the results and give you that boost of confidence. And this is actually something that I did myself when I was starting out. I worked with a couple of people for free, and it really gave me the boost of confidence that I needed to start getting out there in a bigger way and actually selling my services for a more appropriate price. Also, if you get help with your sales process, it can help you to develop your confidence and help you to be really congruent about setting the right price for your services. Similarly, learning how to have a structured sales conversation, because again, when you get comfortable communicating what you do, and you know how to guide a client through a structure to help them come to a decision, all of this helps you increase your confidence. And when you increase your confidence as a professional in what you do, so your confidence about money also changes. You know, you become, something clicks, you become confident, you start seeing yourself as a professional who's worth what she or he charges, you start setting prices that are appropriate, you start talking about those prices in a way that feels very congruent. The client is left very comfortable by the conversation because you're not making them feel awkward when you talk about money, and the whole thing works so smoothly. And you know, this really is an area where you can achieve some really profound transformation in the way that you relate to money in your business. Like I said, through actually taking very practical steps. And you know, go and check out the success stories on my success stories page if you want to see some examples of this, of where people have had these sort of transformations as a result of working on areas like this, like connecting in with their value, getting clear about their pricing, learning how to have these structured sales conversations, learning how to clearly communicate and articulate the value of their work. So that's the first area of funny about money. The second area of funny about money is what I call personal funny about money. And this is where the problems lie a bit deeper. Particularly if your unhelpful attitudes to money stem from deeper programming, perhaps from way back in your childhood. And this can come from different places. So sometimes how you feel about money and charging can be directly related to having low personal self-esteem or low personal self-worth. Again, your own personal self-esteem can really massively increase when you start working with more and more clients. This was certainly my experience. You know, I didn't have very high self-worth. I didn't have a lot of self-confidence. And personally, for me, my self-confidence in what I do has grown through seeing more and more and more people having the results they want as a result of doing my programs or working with me. So if this is, you know, so when it comes to personal self-worth, if you don't feel that you're worth very much, this can sometimes translate to you feeling quite stuck around your pricing, because it's easy for you to get stuck on associating your pricing with what you are worth and with what you believe your time is worth, as opposed to connecting into the value to the client of the transformation you can bring, which will usually be multiple times, maybe tens or hundreds of or thousands of times higher than you might set your own personal self-worth. And again, this is something that can be shifted by doing exercises and going through processes like I teach in the Get More Clients Saying Yes course to help you connect much more deeply to your value in that way. Low personal self-worth is also a factor in overgiving and overhelping, where you tend to take too much responsibility for others and you end up giving them too much for free. And it's very common, people who are, if you've taken my quiz, it'll be people in the nurturer category, people who are very driven to want to make a difference to others. This group of people are often the people who tend to get stuck working in a part-time regular job and don't actually manage to get their business financially viable because of this tendency to overgive. You know, it's not a great business model, giving a lot away for free. It doesn't tend to work, and it's a complete fast track to burnout and also frustration. The other thing, of course, as well with personal funny about money is that a lot of people are carrying around deeply embedded negative beliefs about money or people with money. And I can share that I had these negative beliefs embedded in me in childhood. I was brought up to be quite suspicious of anybody who had a lot of money. The feeling was definitely that these people were somehow bad people, and that it was wrong to want a lot of money. That was definitely the messages I received. And so if you grew up hearing those sort of messages, maybe you heard that money is the root of all evil, or that you learned that rich people are greedy and dishonest, then it can be quite hard to shake these off. And in particular, as you go into business, sometimes no matter how you might want to adopt different views, these can be quite more deeply embedded. You might also have views like, I'll always be poor, or people in my family are always poor, or money brings unhappiness. Maybe you've suffered some sort of trauma connected to money in childhood. It may be that your parents used to fight a lot about money, or maybe your parents went bankrupt. Or lost their home. All of this stuff can really impact on our relationship with money as adults. And if this is the case for you, then again, it's no surprise that it can be hard for you to set really solid, good prices for your work, that it can be difficult for you to quote those prices, that it can feel incredibly uncomfortable for you to encourage somebody to actually pay you money, because deep down you have these embedded subconscious opinions that that believes that, if you have this money, you're just not a good person. So what can happen sometimes is that you might even develop a program or a package that you price really well, that you're able to sell, maybe even sell in large numbers, but you're unable to have the money stick around. The money will keep flowing out because you almost have to, your subconscious wants you to redress the balance, and there is some powerful, very powerful subconscious part of you that believes you have to get rid of that money in order to feel like a good person again. And so sometimes if you recognize that it's these more deeply embedded, what I call the personal funny about money stuff, sometimes the way to deal with these is to actually make a commitment to yourself that you will do the inner work that's required to shift them. And this might mean working with a money coach, with an EFT practitioner, with an NLP practitioner, with a hypnotherapist to help you to shift these on the subconscious level. Like I said, though, in my own experience, my own personal experience, my money stuff didn't get shifted through consciously working on it in that way. For me, it shifted through the doing. So the more clients I brought on, the more money I earned, the more confident I became, and the more comfortable I became about the whole money and earning money subject. And of course, I think in my case, having a career in sales had helped with that too, because before I set up my own business, I was very comfortable having conversations about pricing, sales, money, invoicing on a daily basis. So let me know what you think. I'd love to know, do you recognise yourself in any of this? Do you recognise that your money attitudes could actually be a factor that's holding you back from the success that you want in business? And are you prepared to make a commitment to overcome these, whether it's through some of the practical things that I've talked about, or whether it's through going and doing some of the internal work? I would love to know what you think. Do let me know in the comments below. And if you're interested in doing any further work on any of these areas with me, whether it's really working on connecting in with your value, learning how to articulate and communicate the value of what you do, being able to take somebody through a structured sales conversation, getting clear on your pricing and knowing how to be really congruent and sticking with that pricing, then coming up soon in October and November, I'll be running the Get More Clients Saying Yes program. So in the next couple of weeks, I'll be sharing more with you about that. And if that feels right for you, I'd love to have you join me. So lots of love for today. I hope that this has struck a chord with you, and do make sure you share in the comments below. I always love to hear from you. Bye-bye.